everybody, this is Mike with 4 and 6 Music. So what I want to do in today's lesson is I want to show you guys a simple progression that is used in a lot of different types of music, including jazz, R&B, pop, rock, etc. And that progression is what we call the 1-6-2-5 progression. So anytime we're talking about progressions and we're identifying what the chords are, we're usually going to use, if we're analyzing the song, Roman numerals to represent each of those chords. And those chords are basically representing the scale degrees that within the key of the song. So let's say we're in the key of C. That first chord in the key of C is going to be a major chord. So we have our C major. That's what we call our one chord, right? So when we say 1-6-2-5, that one chord in the key of C is going to be C major. After that, we have a 6. So we're going to work our way all the way to the 6th scale degree. So we have our first scale degree, also known as Do, our second scale degree, also known as Re, our third scale degree, also known as Mi, our fourth scale degree, also known as Fa, our fifth, also known as Sol, our sixth, also known as La, and then we have in the scale T, which is our 7th scale degree, and then back to Do, which is our first scale degree. So we have Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. So our 6th chord is going to use the 6th scale degree as our root, and that's pretty high. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring that down an octave, right? So that's our octave shape. So we're going to bring that down an octave, and that chord in the key of C is going to be a minor chord. So anytime we see a 6th chord, that's going to be a minor. For this, we'll play minor 7, and that is our A minor 7. So we have, again, our C major 7, A minor 7. Then we're going to go to our 2 chord, which is also a minor chord, D minor 7. And then we're going to go to our 5th chord, which is a dominant 7 chord. So we have our C major 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7, and then back to the C. So when we play that progression, it's going to sound like this. And when you're learning these progressions and you're trying to get them in your ear, one thing that you should really pick up on is the bass notes. Follow that bass note in your ear and really try to get that, because when you hear that in a song, it's going to be a lot easier to identify that progression being played. So that just the bass notes for that progression will sound like this. Right? So again, that's just the bass notes, the root notes of these chords. And like I said, each one of these chords are specific as far as whether they're major or minor. So if we go through the C scale, just as a reference for you guys, for the C scale, and this is going to work for any major scale, and I'm just going to go up to the 6th scale degree because the 7th scale degree is a little bit different to the others. But it's basically alternating between major and minor. So our first chord is a major chord, 2nd is a minor, 3rd is a minor, 4th is a major, 5th is a major, or most likely a dominant 7 chord, and then our 6th scale degree is a minor. Right? So again, we have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. And those are what, again, the progressions are based off of, are those scale degrees. So that's a 1-6-2-5. And again, that's a pretty common chord progression used in a lot of different types of music, including jazz and R&B. So this progression, this exercise that I came up with using this progression, it's going to be played with your fingers. So for this one, you're not going to use a pick, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to alternate between the bass note and then the chords. So it's going to sound like this. So what I'm doing is I'm using my thumb for the 5th and the 6th string only, and those are playing the bass notes just by themselves. So if, let's say we're playing that first chord, that's what it's going to sound like. So it's going to be 1 and, and that's going to be the rhythm. So we have 1 and 3 and so 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 and 1. So this is a pretty syncopated example, a pretty syncopated exercise. So what I mean by syncopated is a lot of our accents, a lot of the notes that we're playing are going to be on the upbeats. So that's what the and is for this. So when we think of beats, we think 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're playing this, the chord and then the second bass note that we hit is going to be on the upbeat. Those are syncopated, so it's going to sound like this. Let's see. Actually, let me get a metronome. I'll play along with the metronome just so you guys hear what that's going to sound like when we have the click in the background. And it's always a good idea, like I mentioned in another video, it's always a good idea to practice with the metronome, especially when you're working on technique and trying to improve on that technique. It's going to help tremendously, and it's going to cut the amount of time that you spend practicing. Because if you can practice for half an hour and get the same result that you could for an hour's worth of practice, why wouldn't you take the 30 minutes? Why would you spend an hour, 30 extra minutes doing something, right? So that, again, practicing with the metronome really helps to cut down on that practice time. So if we use this, all right, so that's our beat. Now here's the exercise played along with the metronome. Then we repeat. And that's what it sounds like when we play along with the metronome. And again, most of that exercise is going to be syncopated, so it's being played on the upbeat. And again, our thumb is going to take care of the lower two strings, our A and our E string. So our first, second, and third finger, again, are going to take care of the chords. So for our C major chord, our first finger, second, and third are playing the fourth, third, and second string respectively. We're not playing that first string, so that note does not appear in there, that G on the 3rd fret first string. Instead, we have that for our C major 7. And a lot of times you'll see that when you're learning jazz or different types of music that utilize chords, especially more advanced chords like 7 chords, it's not always going to have all the notes in the voicing for the chord on the guitar. You're going to have notes omitted, although for that G, we do have the G in that chord over there, so we don't have it repeated. But there are chords such as, let's say, our 7 chord. For this one, we do play all the notes in the 7 chord, but that note on the second string, our 5th, our D for the G7 chord, we don't have to play that. We could just play the roots, the 7th, and the 3rd. We don't necessarily have to add that 5th, because again, just like I mentioned in other videos, the 5th and actually the root of a chord can be omitted because the most important notes in the chord are going to be the 3rd and the 7th, also known as our guide tones. So, again, that's our C major 7. Then afterwards, we're going to go to our A minor 7. And for this one, again, our thumb is taking care of the 6th string, that bass note. And then our first, second, and third finger, again, are taking care of the fourth, our D string, third string, G string, and second string, B string, respectively. Then afterwards, we're going to go to our D minor 7, and our thumb changes to the 5th string again, just like for our C major 7. But just like the C major 7 and the A minor 7, our first, second, and third fingers are staying on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string, respectively. So it's nice for this exercise, as we're playing it, the only thing that's changing is our thumb. Our thumb is going to go to different strings, either the 5th or the 6th string, but our first, second, and third fingers are staying on the same string. So this is actually a really helpful exercise for getting used to finger picking. And then finally, our dominant 7 chord. Like I said, for this one, we do add the 5th on the 2nd string. And for that, our thumb is going back to the low E string, our 6th string, so that's our G, that's the root. And then our first, second, and third finger are taking care of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings, respectively. So for this exercise, we don't even have to move these 3 fingers, they just stay on the same strings. And in my finger picking video, I went over how you should finger pick and what the proper finger placement is. And a lot of times, the first, second, and third fingers are going to go on the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings, respectively. But for this one, we just move it down to the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. So you can do that. There's a lot of wiggle room as far as like what you can do and what you can change with finger picking, and some things are not always going to be consistent, right? Just like that, where we're moving from 3rd, 2nd, and 1st string down to the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. And as you're playing for many years and you learn different types of songs and different types of styles of music, you'll develop almost like an intuition as far as where you should place your fingers on the right hand, as far as like which strings and all of that. And it takes time and it takes practice, but like I said, for this exercise, you don't really have to worry about where you're moving your fingers because they're going to be staying on the same strings. The only finger that's really changing strings is the thumb between the 5th and the 6th string. So I hope this exercise helped you guys. I'm going to post it on the description box, so you'll have a link to the sheet music for this exercise that you can use to practice. And I came up with 2 variations, well, 1 variation for it. So the original is exactly what I showed you. And the variation is pretty much the same thing. The only thing that's changing is our 6th chord. So our 6th chord, rather than playing an A minor, we're going to be playing an A dominant 7. So you can do this for that. So we have our 1 major, and then we go to the A7. And this is pretty nice because when we play that A7, it really wants to propel the progression forward a lot more, so that we really want to go, the listener really, their ear really gravitates towards that next chord, our D minor 7. So when we play that example, it's going to sound like this. And that's another option that you have for that progression, is changing that 6 minor chord to a 6 dominant, right? Or it's also known as a secondary dominant chord. So I hope that lesson was useful for you guys. If you would like to book a private lesson, you can fill out the booking form in the description box below. And if you have any questions, you can leave comments, questions, concerns in the comment box for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed that lesson. I will see you all in the next one. Later.